Imagine being trapped in the coldest place on Earth. No food, no way home, and no one coming to save you. Battling freezing storms, wild animals, starvation, and even madness. They must hold on for years, hoping for rescue. How far would you go to survive? Now let's dive into this incredible true story. The story starts when Einar, a Danish explorer and captain, leads an expedition to prove that Greenland is one land and not divided by a channel, as the Americans believe. The proof of this was recorded by another expedition years ago, but those records were lost in the Arctic. During their journey, Einar and his crew get trapped in the ice. Their ship is stuck and cannot move, so Einar and Jorgensen leave the crew behind and go out to search for the missing records, but they do not find them. When they return to the ship, Jorgensen is badly hurt. His toes are frozen because of frostbite, and they have to be removed to save his leg. Later that night, Einar tells the crew that he found a diary from one of the men and a map. The map shows the location of a cairn where the final records of the unknown land were left. He encourages the crew to try again and asks for volunteers. At first, no one wants to risk their life for a second attempt. Ivar, the ship's engineer, gets ready to leave. He struggles to handle the dogs, which makes Einar worry about his lack of experience. The crew warns him that he won't survive, saying it's like walking from Rome to Moscow just to find a pile of stones. But Ivar is determined to go. Before leaving, Jorgensen tries to convince Einar to stop this dangerous mission. He tells him it is not worth the risk. But Einar does not listen. He ignores Jorgensen's concerns and gives him clear orders. If they do not return before the ice melts and freezes again, Jorgensen must leave with the ship. On March 1st, 1910, Einar and Ivar begin their journey across the frozen land. The crew wishes them luck, knowing that luck is the one thing they will truly need on this dangerous trip. As they travel, they come across a huge ice cliff. With strong determination, they both climb it. When they reach the top, the view is breathtaking. But Einar keeps his distance from Ivar, treating him more like a simple assistant than a friend. It is now day 26. The cold is brutal, the winds are strong, and all they can see ahead is endless ice, stretching for miles. As they continue their journey, Einar tells Ivar about what he discovered on his first expedition. The frozen bodies of the missing explorers, trapped in the ice. But in the hand of one of them, he found something important, a diary. That diary contained a map showing the location of the lost records. If they can find those records, they will have proof that Greenland is not divided. This proof will allow Denmark to claim the land. The next morning, they continue their journey. Suddenly, Ivar's lead dog smells land and starts running too fast, pulling the sled straight toward danger. Before they can stop it, the sled falls into a deep ravine, taking all their supplies with it. Ivar is thrown off just in time, saving his life, but his lead dog, Bjorn, does not survive. Now they have lost 2 weeks' worth of dog food, half of their tea, and 1 can of paraffin, which they need to make fire. With each passing day, their struggle becomes even harder. By day 48, they finally leave the ice and reach land. But their journey is not over yet. Einar reminds Ivar why their mission is so important. If they do not find the lost records, there will be no proof that Greenland is one land. Without this proof, the Americans will claim Greenland for themselves, and Denmark will lose it forever. The Arctic is cruel, and food is running out. They have no choice but to kill one of their sled dogs to survive. It is a painful decision, but there is no other way. To make their remaining food last longer, they decide to cut their rations in half. But with less food, they become weaker and more tired each day. Their energy is fading, but they must keep going. By day 84, Ivar is losing hope. The journey is too hard and survival feels impossible. But Einar, as a true leader, encourages him to keep going. He tells Ivar they must push forward. To make travel easier, they decide to abandon one of their sleds. Their supplies are already too few, and they do not have enough strength to pull everything. Then at last, they find it. The cairn, the stack of stones left behind by the lost expedition. They rush to the spot. Inside, Einar finds a letter dated August 8, 1907, along with a map. The proof is clear. The Peary Channel does not exist. Greenland is one land. Their mission is a success. Einar stands in silence, looking over the vast Greenland landscape, knowing that all their suffering was worth it. Ivar too is overjoyed, especially when he sees Einar laughing for the first time. To celebrate, they enjoy a special meal, oxtail soup they found inside the cairn. It is a small reward for a great victory, but now they must return. The journey back is even worse. By day 132, more dogs freeze to death, and the cold becomes unbearable. Their strength is fading, and survival feels more difficult with each passing day. One day, while they are resting, Ivar goes out to hunt for a seal. Suddenly, he hears multiple gunshots. His heart pounds as he runs back toward Einar. When he arrives, he sees a terrifying sight: a massive bear on top of Einar. Without thinking, he shoots the bear. The bullet hits its mark, but the bear falls through the ice, dragging Einar with it. Ivar rushes to save him and barely pulls Einar out in time. But the bear meat, which could have saved them, is gone. Einar makes a tough decision. He burns their last sled to keep them warm, knowing that without fire they won't survive. Then, with a heavy heart, he kills their last dog. It is their only source of food now, but even after all this, they are still 200 miles away from their ship, Alabama. It is now day 164. Einar and Ivar are on foot, completely alone. They have no sled, no dogs, only their will to survive. As they continue, they reach a dangerous frozen lake. The ice looks thin and unstable. If they fall through, there will be no way out. Realizing the risk, Einar makes a tough decision. In case they do not make it, he decides to leave a record of their journey. He builds a new cairn, a stack of stones, and hides their journals inside. If someone finds it in the future, they will know what happened and what they achieved. They cross the frozen lake, carefully stepping forward. Every step is risky, but they have no choice. They successfully manage to cross the lake. After many months, they finally reach Shannon Island. But the sight is devastating. The crew is gone. They have been abandoned. They take shelter in a small hut, built from the remains of their ship. Inside, they find enough food to last a year. Meanwhile, back home, their crew argues with the Danish government, begging for a rescue mission. The minister refuses. He believes that Ivar, being inexperienced, should not have been taken on the journey at all. Months pass. A full year goes by, but no one comes. They wait, hoping someone will rescue them next summer. Until then, they must survive. With nothing else to do, they spend hours sharing old memories and listening to music on an old gramophone, finding small moments of comfort. Einar has a nightmare, a polar bear destroying the stack of stones where he hid the proof. He cannot take that risk. Before leaving, Ivar suggests leaving a note in case someone comes for rescue. But Einar is confident. He believes they will return before the sea opens again. They set out once more. The journey back is just as brutal, filled with hardship at every step. On day 439, they reach the location again. Luckily, the journals are still safe. A wave of relief washes over them. They have not lost the proof. They return to their hut on day 471, completely exhausted. But what they find is devastating. A note left by a rescuer. A ship had come to rescue them. But when they found no one there, they left. Ivar is furious. He blames Einar for not leaving a note in the hut. If they had, they would have been rescued. The argument grows heated. Einar, feeling the weight of his mistake, snaps. In his frustration, he destroys their last sled, leaving them with no way to travel. Back home, Jorgensen fights for them. He tells the minister that the hut was boarded up, proving that someone had been there. But the minister refuses to send a rescue mission, leaving their fate in the hands of chance. Back at the hut, Einar and Ivar continue to wait, holding on to the hope that someone will come to rescue them. Days pass, but there is no sign of help. Day 793. Einar's mind begins to break. Exhaustion and despair take over. He starts hallucinating. He sees Naya, a woman from his past, floating toward him in a hot air balloon. She is not real, but to him, she feels real. He talks to her, convinced she has come to save him. Meanwhile, Einar is lost in his own mind. He still sees Naja and talks to her as if she is real. Overcome with emotion, he starts crying, realizing deep down that no one is coming to rescue them. One day, he develops a painful boil on his neck. Einar, in severe pain, asks Ivar to cut open a boil. He faints. Suddenly, they hear footsteps outside. Something big is approaching. It's a giant polar bear. Einar and Ivar quickly make loud noises. The noise scares the bear. It finally turns and walks away. Then, day 865 arrives. Once again, they hear footsteps outside. Thinking it's another bear, they quickly grab a knife and the gun, ready to fight. But when they step outside, they see 5 people standing there, including Jorgensen. After nearly 3 years of suffering, they are finally rescued. When they return home, Einar and Ivar are honored for their incredible discovery. Their proof confirms that Greenland is one land, securing Denmark's claim. They made history. Backstage, Einar sees Naja. For a moment, he fears he is hallucinating again. He turns to Ivar and asks, "Do you see a woman there?" Ivar looks and nods. She is real. Einar feels a wave of relief. It's not a dream this time. The moment is deeply emotional. The story ends with these facts. A year later, Einar marries Naja. He dedicates the rest of his life to Greenland. Ivar never returns to the Arctic. Einar and Ivar remain friends for life. Einar later wrote a book about this journey. Let me know the name of the book in the comments. If you like this story, share it with others. Let's keep these incredible true stories alive. See you in the next one.